Fox News, particularly the show Fox and Friends here, they were talking about, I think, the Canadian trucker protest, and they made a point about the U.S. and how we reacted to the pandemic, and this is a hoot.
You know, I also think that the United States and Canada, they have been really throughout this pandemic, it's sort of mirrored what a socialist state would look like. They've been so intrusive. We really have seen what would happen to this country if we stop caring about freedom and democracy and let the socialist Bernie Sanders wing that is festering in the Democratic Party take over. Every single time that has happened, the same thing happens. Oligarchies form, a ruling class form. People who say you have to do something but don't follow the rules themselves. Why? Because they are in charge. Therefore, they think that they are better than you. I mean, that is the definition of what happened throughout this whole pandemic. And that's why these hardworking people in Canada and the U.S. are so frustrated. Their goals are that they want to work. They want to put food on the table. And I'd love to hear Justin Trudeau answer that question that 60-year-old grandfather asked and said, what would you do if somebody was threatening your family's livelihood?
Imagine saying the U.S. went full socialist during the pandemic. Imagine believing that. Imagine believing that. That's not even close to true. Now, look, there are certain things that there is, like, vibrant debate and disagreement on the left as to what is the proper leftist approach to dealing with the pandemic, what's the proper socialist approach to dealing with the pandemic. There are plenty of socialists who are pro-lockdown. There's plenty of socialists who are anti-lockdown. There's plenty of socialists who are pro-vaccine mandate. There's plenty of socialists who are anti-vaccine mandate. Like, so that stuff, it's a little bit open to debate and discussion as to what is the true leftist or true socialist position in dealing with the pandemic. But there are certain things that are not open to debate and discussion. So, for example, a full socialist response to the pandemic, for one thing, would have been universal health care. Definitely, 100%, without a doubt, for sure. We don't have universal health care in this country. We don't have it at all. One of the best things was the vaccine being free, but our healthcare more generally is not free. There are people who got, tens of thousands of dollars worth of COVID bills. We covered some of the stories on this show, COVID healthcare bills. So and by the way, if we did that, that would have been glorious. I would have wanted the socialist reaction to the pandemic. So universal healthcare for one thing. Another thing is UBI. We wouldn't have done the one-time checks a couple times. It would have been universal basic income, at least in perpetuity until the end of the pandemic. That would have been a socialist reaction. That would have been wonderful. Paid sick leave. We don't even have paid sick leave in this country. You're going to say the U.S. went socialist in reaction to the pandemic. We don't even have paid sick leave. Are you kidding me? That would have been a socialist reaction, and that would have been wonderful. The other thing you could argue is not just basic public health measures would be part of a socialist response, but it would have been more at the national level. It would have been more at the federal level. It wouldn't have been delegated to the states to make their own decisions on certain things. There would have been more national leadership and guidance and direction. So this idea, again, putting aside whether being pro-lockdown or anti-lockdown is socialist or lefty, or vax mandate or no vaccine mandate is socialist or lefty, because I think there is debate on that, and I don't even know what I would describe as the true leftist position on that front. I can tell you what I think of those different positions, but, that doesn't mean I'm the representative of the one true leftist or the one true socialist. But certainly, universal health care, UBI, paid sick leave, basic public health measures at a federal level, that would have been a proper socialist reaction. And we didn't do universal health care. We didn't do UBI. We didn't do paid sick leave. And the public health measures were scattershot, and it went state by state. It wasn't really at the federal level. So, my ass cheeks, man. This socialist response to the pandemic. If we had a socialist response to the pandemic, way more people would be alive and way fewer people would be struggling economically. They just say anything on Fox. Anything that is like nominally a right-wing argument or a Republican argument, they just say it. Don't need any evidence, don't need any data, don't need any theory. Just spew it, just say it. U.S. is now full socialist. I wish. Giving workers more control in the workplace, not just having some semblance of political democracy, but also having workplace democracy. That'd be wonderful. Give people more autonomy, more sovereignty, more freedom and choice over their own life. U.S. went full socialist in response to the pandemic. If only, you weirdos, if only. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.